Monday, 6:50 a.m. in the morning. We're going from Chicago to Ohio to visit two of my projects. One of them is in Piqua, Ohio. Another one is in Beaver Creek. The first project is a mall that we purchased 9 months ago. It's 540,000 square feet, and we're almost 70% into construction, and I'm excited to show you what we have over there. And another one, Beaver Creek, Ohio, is 180,000 square feet on 29 acres. We just purchased that 2 weeks ago, and I'm meeting my GC over there. I have a couple other meetings, and I'll show around, guys. We're going there to see those projects because I want to walk those projects. I want to feel it, understand where I was with construction, I was on time, on a budget, where with permits, to meet construction crew, project managers, etc. Another reason I'm going there, Beaver Creek, we just purchased 2 weeks ago. We white boxed already one building, and this was going to give us a better picture and understanding how we want to cut up this building, how many doors, how many drive-in doors we want to install, and what's the best way to cut that building in multiple tenants for the best utility for that property. Also, I'm meeting a few brokers, very active brokers in the area. I want to get their feedback. I want to see if there are any clients who need the space and need some custom tenant improvements. Many times brokers have tenants that are not able to place because tenant improvements maybe are too difficult or too specific, and I'm okay to do tenant improvements as long as it makes sense. So the more brokers I talk, the more understanding I get what does the specific market needs for these tenants. So brokers definitely have good feedback for me. And lastly, while I'm meeting over there, I have a third tour for a very sizable tenant. We're meeting decision makers, and I hope we're gonna put a deal together. Currently, we're facing two challenges with these projects. Number one challenge is permitting process and approval process from counties and municipalities. It looks like post-COVID municipalities extended their permitting timelines probably 2-3 times, and the story we're hearing is that they're understaffed. And it's probably across the board in all the projects that we do. For example, in Piqua, we're signing leases faster than we can get permits on and occupancy permits. So actually we have to reduce or dim it down our marketing activity and leasing activity because we just can't get permits fast enough, which is probably a good problem to have leasing faster than we can move with the construction. Number two challenge is a very tight debt environment from banks. In the last 2-3 months, I see that the banks are tightening up their lending requirements. For example, if you're a new customer, some of the banks not even issuing new loans to new customers. Beaver Creek, it's our new project, a new market. It creates a new challenge, especially if we do a sizable tenant improvements project. But the good news is that it seems like Feds stayed steady on the rates in December, and coincidentally, I received a few emails and phone calls from banks. I want to talk about lending, so I believe it's going to loosen up again in the next 2-3 quarters. Feds hinted at probably reducing rates, which will inevitably get banks lending again. I began my real estate career in 2004 when I bought the one-bedroom condo that was in Woodridge, Illinois. I bought it for $86,000 at Sheriff Auction. Had bought it for cash. I renovated kitchen, bathrooms. I painted it myself, and I sold it for $115,000, and the profit was $10,000 at the time. So that was my first deal that I did. Eventually, I got my real estate license and appraiser's license. In 2017, I bought my first commercial property. Also in 2020, I sold all my residential units and reinvested back to commercial properties, which mainly right now are big neglected malls or industrial properties as well. The fundamentals of buying and renovating and stabilizing those properties are pretty much the same, whether that was one-bedroom condo or that's 500,000 square feet commercial property. I typically buy them, renovate them, increase the value, release it, get existing rents to pay a market rate, refinance them, and keep them long term. So that's pretty much the same thesis, whether that's a small one-bedroom condo or it's a big commercial property. Just increase the value through renovation, get the rents to market rate, and release them again. I'm a commercial real estate investor specializing in value add deals. Mainly we're buying right now neglected malls and industrial property, average deal size 250,000 square feet to 500,000 square feet. That has been our MO for the last 2 years. And typical deal, we buy it, we renovate it, we fill it in, refinance it and keep it. That's a typical strategy. Normally I run a framework with my team and the people I work. It's simplify, clarify, repeat. I run this framework consistently, and it's pretty much never-ending process when you simplify and clarify and repeat that process on a complex problem, so it eventually becomes small and understandable. And that's how you can overcome any impossible challenge that it seems impossible only in the beginning, and it becomes possible. In the next 5 to 10 years, my partner Rafik Moore and I will acquire 50 properties across America that need our hands-on approach. Those properties, for the most part, will be neglected malls, 250,000 square feet to 500,000 square feet in size. The approach is pretty similar. We buy those properties that they need renovation. We'll listen to the community, what exactly they need, what business they need to bring back. We renovate them, and we offer affordable pricing. We offer tenant improvements, and we offer raving fan culture. So it's not difficult. It just requires hard work, genuine desire to improve those properties, genuine desire to improve the communities and bring back those businesses. And once you do that, it's pretty much, that's when the magic happens. So today I'm working on 2 big projects that are closed and we're in renovation and leasing stage. Also, we have 2 big deals in the contract. One is the Richland Mall in Ontario, Ohio, and another one is Cleveland. That's almost 500,000 square feet industrial property. So this year we're going to be working on those 4 projects. It will be probably close to 2 million square feet to stabilize and lease. They may fall into 2025 as well. They take 12 to 24 months for us to stabilize. Also, we're going to be selling 2 to 4 properties. The way we do it, we sell smaller properties that we acquired, 4 years ago, and we invested capital back to those bigger projects. Our biggest challenge right now is municipalities approving our permits, approvals, and adaptive reuse, rezoning, special use permits. Normally with the properties we buy, they've been neglected for some time. Some of them have been neglected for 10 years. Right from the get-go, when we go in a new market, especially if it's a new project, we have to overcome the stigma of previous owners who haven't done anything with those properties, and they've been dormant and vacant and pretty much blighted properties for that community. So obviously we have that stigma to overcome. That's number one. Number two, our projects are fairly complex. There is not enough precedent in that county for similar projects, because when we bring those properties back to life, we're not bringing back Sears or we're not bringing back Macy's, because those tenants are not coming back. We're bringing mixed-use tenants into those facilities, and we renovating based on what business and community needs. So we want to make sure those tenants will sustain long term and will be viable. So we would love to have those permits and approvals get done within a couple of months, but in reality we're waiting for them for 6 months, 12 months, sometimes 18 months, and it's really challenging from debt perspective, negative cash flow perspective, until we stabilize them. But once we stabilize them, they just cash flowing really well. And of course we have a lot of triumphs in the last couple of years. One of them is Piqua Center, which we bought it practically vacant, and right now it's 70% full. We're almost 2/3 in our construction, and it's really becoming a focal point of the community. That property is the largest asset in that county, and it's been vacant or half vacant for almost 10 years. and it's going to be a key property for community. So we bought this property in Piqua, Ohio, which is 540,000 square feet regional mall, and we bought it for practically a land value. So that's reason number one. So if you choose the right strategy how to renovate, the value can go up from that point. And second, it was that this property sits on Ash exit and I-75 on a 60 acres. And really, you can't find anywhere in the country anymore 60 or 50 or 100 acres that sits on a exit and on the highway with fairly decent demographics and fairly decent density for the tertiary market. So we found this property to the broker. There's nothing special about finding them because there's thousands of properties like that in the United States that are half abandoned or need work, need renovation. There's nothing special about finding them. Most of them are on the market or they are with the brokers and they simply need attention and repositioning what we can do with them. So we knew this deal is a great deal after two things. Number one, we saw that the municipality and leadership and planning were strongly behind this project and they were pretty much supporting our idea very, very strongly. And number two, community was behind us too. When we posted a couple posts asking the community, what do you need, what do you see happening in this mall, we have so much feedback coming for us and everyone was really, really supportive. So we knew exactly with this type of support, we'll make it happen and we'll make this property come back to life. So the main challenge of this deal was that this mall was practically vacant for 10 years and it had multiple owners, but community was overpromised that it will come back and pretty much it was neglected, nothing was happening, and it had a bad stigma. I think initially people thought that we're going to be the same landlord who's going to come in, milk it, chop it off this facility and just sell it for profit and community will get nothing from it. So that was the main challenge to overcome. But when we saw how much work we're putting in it and what we're doing, everyone was excited and we turned this opinion around very quickly. We're standing right now in a Hero Day space that's about 25,000 square feet space that used to be a cinema hall and the floors were sloping down. If you see, that's where the exit sign used to be. And if you can take a look, that's where exit sign is right now. So that's how much stone and concrete had to put in order to level those floors. We put here 1,800 tons of stone and about 230 yards of concrete to make this floor even. On the second floor, we're gonna have birthday party rooms and lounge area for the parents to watch while the kids are playing here. And this space will open up in the next 30 days and it will draw approximately 200,000 people a year, which will be our anchor tenant to draw people and for the kids have fun. I'm super excited about it. Thank you guys. So today we're here at Russ Innovation and Technology Center. We bought this deal a couple weeks ago for $4.5 million. It's over 185,000 square feet on 29 acres. So it's close to $20 a foot. And why did we buy it? Because it fits our profile. It has a lot of vacancy, over 40%. It's very heavy in the office, but it has flex space and lab space. We'll demo a few buildings inside and we'll turn office space to a flex space by cutting to a small flex units, 3,000, 4,000 square feet. We'll pop drive-in doors, docks, and that's what we do. And we know we're going to be successful by leasing that. So this deal was special because of three things. Number one, it had 40% vacancy, and I know once it's renovated, we'll be able to fill in that space, no problem. Number two is that it was in really palatable zoning. It was in a planning development, so pretty much it's an open canvas, and even if it's heavy on an office side, we'll be able to white box many of the units inside, put drive-in doors, docks, and cut it up in flex spaces which has really good demand over here. And last thing, it comes in on 29 acres of land, and it has approximately 10 acres additional land in the front where we're going to be able to build the 4 additional buildings once we're done filling in that space in the back. So there are a few challenges with this deal. Number one, it is heavy office, about 70% office, and right now if it's an office, it is radioactive. No one wants to lend on it. In my view, it's a flex office property, especially where white boxing and demoing a lot of office inside, putting docks, drive-in doors, and we're cutting in a small base, 3, 4, 5,000 base, and it will become flex office. But when presenting to the banks, many of them, they look at the office and they want to do the deal. Second challenge was that many of the leases were short-term. This property has about 40% vacancy when we closed. And many of the leases were short-term. That would create another challenge for the bank to underwrite it. But luckily we worked with the bank. We have a long history and they know our product, and we had no problem to close on it. So this project will impact the community in a very positive way. First of all, we'll renovate this facility that has been neglected for probably a couple of decades. That's number one. Number two, we'll bring additional jobs and additional revenue. This area has no income tax. And it needs property tax. So when we built additional 4 buildings in the front, that's going to be huge additional revenue for community. And imagine how many jobs we'll create once we bring new businesses in that 100,000 square feet vacancy. So that's another very important aspect. And lastly, it will bring the flex space that is so needed in this area. I talked to so many brokers and so many potential tenants, they can't find anything in 3, 4, 5,000 square feet warehouse, 12-foot ceilings, drive-in doors or docks. That's for startup or small businesses that need type of space because they're simply not available. So that's gonna create additional space that is so much needed. So long-term vision for this property is a long-term hold, like with many of our assets. We will finish the project, renovate it, fill in by the end of 2024. We'll refinance it in a long-term debt, and then we're going to move to phase 2, which is building 4 additional buildings in the front. Will be done by end of 2025, beginning of 2026. And at that point, we'll be fully stabilized and we'll keep this asset long-term, 10, 20 years in the future. One of the main tenants in this property is KBR Services. They've been here over 20 years, and they're a national credit company. Actually, they're a publicly traded company with multiple offices around the world. They provide high-tech engineering solutions for the governments. They've been in this building for over 20 years, and we just extended their lease for additional long-term commitment. So this is the main tenant, and we're super happy that they're continuing staying with us. So in conclusion, I want to summarize our 2-day trip here, and I want to give you some key points that I would like to share with you. So we visited 2 properties. The first one was Piqua Center, which is former Miami Valley Mall, 540,000 square feet. We purchased in April. That was 70% vacant. We're in mid-December right now. It's 70% occupied. It will take us till approximately end of 2025 to get to 90-95% occupancy. At that time, we'll return our equity to our investors. This is going to be a really nice addition to our portfolio. We'll keep it long-term, and that's going to be amazing property where community can spend time and entertain and create magic moments. Second property was in Beaver Creek, Ohio. That's Russ Innovation Technology Center. We closed on it a few weeks ago, which is beginning of December. That's 185,000 square feet plus facility, 8 buildings, mostly office, some flex, and some laboratory space on 29 acres. We purchased that 40% vacant. We expecting to be done by the end of 2024, and at that time will be 95% plus occupied. We'll refinance it with a long-term debt. We'll return equity to our investors, and it will be a very nice addition to our portfolio. And then we're gonna do a phase 2 where we'll build 4 additional buildings after we refinance and have those front lots free and clear. That we're not gonna put the long-term debt. So that's in summary. And if you have an interest, either partner up on these type of deals, either you have a similar deal and you don't know how to do it, I'll be more than happy to connect with you, or we have capital and you want to put capital to work with us. I would love to talk to you as well. So thank you very much, and I'm looking for another video that I'm going to do next month.